Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I like hearing your voices. One more time. Good evening. Woohoo! Yes. Well, this is a group of incredibly talented people, both the founders and the MBA teams that have come together here. I am so pleased to have you here today and presenting all of the hard work that you've been working on for the last couple of months. Just to get everybody understanding where we are with this, to understand what this program is, we selected 6 MBA teams to participate in Idea Corps, and they were matched with early stage companies in New Orleans, and their job was to come up with a scale-up strategy for their given company. I want to start off by thanking some of our sponsors. This program, they came in on Monday night. We went to Urban South, and that was sponsored by our friends at Idea Village. Is Sean here? Did Sean come? Oh, there he is. Okay. In a minute, I'm going to call Sean up. He's going to talk a little bit about Idea Village's role with Idea Corps. I also want to thank G&O Inc. I thought I saw Evie or somebody from G&O Inc. come in. No? Evie's here? Okay, well, they took our teams on an amazing tour of the city of New Orleans. We wanted to show off all the innovation, or at least some of the innovation that's going on here. We went to the Bioinnovation Center. We went to Spaces and met with some of the entrepreneurs, some other entrepreneurs that Idea Village is involved with. And then we went to the port and got a tour and saw all the changes and all the developments at the port. And this morning, we went to Michoud and got an actual ride. We got to get on one of those little Disney ride buses, and they took us through the entire factory, showing us the actual rockets that they're actually building that are going to actually go into space. Really cool, I'll tell you. I mean, I was just totally jazzed. So now they're here to present, and this evening, we are also very fortunate in that the New Orleans Business Alliance is also hosting our dinner and the after the awards party. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. We also had some marketing sponsors. These were folks that actually helped us to get the word out to our founders, and hopefully also helped market so that some of the folks that are here as audience are here because of them. And that is from Propeller, Camelback, and Bioinnovation. I would like now, if it's possible, to bring up the Dean, Dr. Michael Capella. I'm sorry, no, I'm doing this backwards. I've got a script here, so I go by the script. Actually, we've made a little slight change. I want to bring up the provost for the University of Loyola, New Orleans, Dr. Tunisia Singh. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am absolutely delighted. And I also know at the same time that the last person you want to really hear from today is me. You want to actually talk to the other people. You want to look at the team. So I'm going to keep it very brief. Thank you, Bear Watts, for this invitation. But I have to admit to a little secret before I thank everybody. So before I became the provost, I used to be a business school dean. And we had one of the very strong entrepreneurship program as well. And this stuff was where I loved being in company like this, in challenges and, you know, the energy. So I am just excited. I think secretly I want to be here more than what I do now. I love being a provost, but I think my heart still belongs in this very entrepreneurial space. So I'm just delighted to be here. I want to thank everybody. I know that we have some amazing teams from across the region. And my hope is, so I'm a strategist by training, and my hope is that next year, this time when we are hosting this room would be full, and this competition would be so well known that we would have teams from across the country wanting to compete in this, just like we have at many other major universities across the country. I want to thank all the sponsors. I want to thank all the coaches. I want to welcome all the teams that are here. And I want to really thank Dean Capella and Dr. Massa. Where are you? Okay. And of course, Barra Watts, for really having the vision and the foresight to bring something like this to Loyola. I would be very curious to look at the various plans and hear your presentations. Unfortunately, I have a very, very early morning flight tomorrow, and I have to go for work, unfortunately, to another city. So I shouldn't say unfortunately, it pays the bills, you know, and this is being recorded, which is really not, but I would much rather be here. So good luck to everyone. I know we have a very strong team, right? But I know we have equally strong teams from everywhere, and thank you for everybody that has sponsored. Thank you to everyone that takes the time. Thank you to our judges who are here. And congratulations for putting this together, and good luck to everybody. So thank you all, and good luck this evening.
All right, I'd like to also invite Sean Mulligan to come up and give us a few words about the history of Idea Village and Idea Core and how they're connected.
Thank you so much, Barra. Hi, I'm Sean Mulligan. I'm the Programming and Events Coordinator for the Idea Village. We're so excited to be bringing back the Idea Core program with Loyola University and supporting them as they bring this great program back. Idea Core has a really long history. I am personally a recent Loyola MBA graduate, so I'm so excited that they have brought it back. Basically, this used to be a really marquee part of New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, culminating in a pitch competition at New Orleans Entrepreneur Week, and we're very excited to see it coming back this year, and we hope that we can continue to support it for years to come. I think it's a great opportunity for MBAs to get really good experience with startups that are doing some really great work here in New Orleans. And if you're looking to continue to engage with the New Orleans startup ecosystem, New Orleans Entrepreneur Week is happening this year from March 27th to April 1st. We'd love to see you all there. It's a great time, and it's a really great way to just really see and appreciate the work that's being done here in New Orleans. So I'm so excited to see what all the teams have come up with, and yeah, I won't hold it up any longer.
Thank you. All right, so as I mentioned, we have our 6 teams, we have our 6 companies. I'm going to do this in alphabetical order. I want to just, the schools that are here today: University of Alabama, do I see them here? Hoo-hoo, there we are. University of Auburn, there we are, hoo-hoo. Detroit, Mercy, yay. Louisiana State University, LSU, yes. University of Loyola, New Orleans. And Tulane, wonderful. And as I mentioned, they have been paired up with companies. We have bypass lines. We have our bypass lines folks here. Here we are. Check, yay, all right, there's Check. Dawn Audio, whoa, there we go. Kid Cred, yeah, all right. Obatala, yes. Oh, and Treyawade. All right, nice. All right, and we have 6. I think we like the number 6 this year. It must be in the stars. I'm not really sure why. We have 6 judges who will decide on a grand prize, which will be awarded, where we will award $20,000 to the winning company of the team that has the best scale-up strategy. So the goal that they have is, we've got a lot of very, very different companies. All these companies are already somewhat in business. They've got a product. They've got a customer base. The teams have to come up with the best solutions to help them scale, to help them really move forward in an accelerated way. And so our judges, their task is going to be very difficult, because we've got very different kinds of companies, but they're going to be judging whether or not the consulting teams have come up with the best strategy for their given company, and if that strategy is doable and is going to move the needle the best. So that's what they're going to be evaluating. So I'd like to also introduce our judges. We've got Jill Farrell, owner of Farrell Strategic Group. We have Megan Manning, Vice President of AmeriCare Royal. Tom Daly, owner of NFP. Daryl Glade, president of iMoto. Jeremy Hunwell, CFO and strategist for Zender Communications. And Kevin Wilkins, founder and CEO of Tripwise. And now, drum roll, our first company. Auburn, come on down. Auburn, are you there? There we are, okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason. With me tonight is Alexis and Dream. We are really excited to be here. Unfortunately, the fourth member of our team, Carrie Lee, could not be with us tonight. As you can see, a brief agenda of what we hope to accomplish in the next 8 minutes or so. We had the pleasure in this scaling strategy of working with the team of Dawn Audio. Dawn is represented here this evening by Diego, out in the audience. Little guy, big hair. Say hello, Diego. So the piece of music that we just walked out here to tonight was actually created by Diego in collaboration with other musicians outside of New Orleans, in fact, outside of Louisiana, using their proprietary software. Now, the way that most music is created these days by digital artists is a software platform called a digital audio workstation. Now, there are lots of DAWs out there on the market as they're known. The most common that non-musicians such as myself might know is GarageBand, which probably many of you might have seen on Apple products over the years, probably opened it like myself and had no idea what exactly it was. There are lots and lots of DAWs out there on the market. The problem is that these competing software platforms do not communicate, which does not allow for true collaboration. So the challenge for artists such as Akete, pictured here, is that in order for them to collaborate with other artists, essentially what they have to do is record their music, upload it to a Dropbox of some kind, maybe email it depending on the size, and then the person that they're collaborating with has to download it, import it into their preferred DAW, and then essentially all that they can do is listen to this music. There is no true real-time collaboration. So this is obviously clunky, it's cumbersome, it's very time-consuming. What Akete has also impressed upon us, Akete happens to be Dream's nephew, is that this can also be very expensive for aspiring artists because they're often forced to purchase a variety of different DAWs to be able to collaborate with different musicians depending on their preferred software platform. So what the team at Dawn has created is this unique middleware software solution that sits in between these competing DAWs and synchronizes them and allows for files to stream seamlessly back and forth for real-time collaboration between artists. So this is obviously less clunky, less cumbersome, and it also has the potential for saving the artists a lot of money because they no longer have to purchase a variety of different DAW platforms. This is a new product for these guys. They're in beta testing right now. Their hope is to have full commercial launch of this in June of 23. Now, we've been really impressed with what the team at Dawn has already done up until we got involved, so we've tried to focus our scaling strategy in order for them to reduce expenses and increase income in a few different areas. Marketing and sales, intellectual property and licensing, and funding and staffing. So I'm going to transition over to Alexis, and he's going to tell you a little bit about our marketing and sales strategies.
So our first recommendation revolves around ambassadors, which are individuals to have out there promoting the brand. So what we want Dawn Audio to do is, first of all, formalize the program. That way they have a system to pick and deploy these ambassadors. And then on top of that, we want them to have an incentive program in place for these ambassadors to motivate them. Here's a list of some items that they could tackle And most importantly, they can have these incentives in place for free, so no cost to the company. The ones that we highlighted at the top are the ones that we recommend the most because they involve individuals actually using the app. Our next recommendation for them is prioritize beta users. As Jason mentioned, they're doing the beta launch right now. They have 15 users. We want them to make sure those users become full-time users of the app so they have an income stream already. The way we want them to achieve this is follow the same stream, the same strategies, and the whole goal here is to keep and convert the beta users they already have in place. Our next recommendation for them is form partnerships with different companies, dog companies. For this, we want them to target low-tier dog companies that be willing to form partnerships with them. This way, dog will get a tremendous amount of coverage with different dog users. It will get tremendous exposure, and at the same time, the company can grow its market share because Dawn Audio allowed the software to be used with the bigger dogs that are better well-known. And lastly, we wanted to use influencer marketing. This is a new field, it's growing, and this way, Dawn Audio can tremendously increase the user, and they can target exactly who they want. There's some platforms we recommend them to use, and target nano micro influencers, which have more engagement and will lead to more conversion. Now I want to transfer the rest to our teammate Dream.
Thank you. Our next strategy has to do with intellectual property and licensing. Although it may not seem like something you want to do when you're scaling up, it's very important when you get your software, your service out into the public that you protect with copyright and trade secrets. On publication of their source code, Dawn Audio has protected that part of it, but trade secrets require active and intentional behavior to protect those with NDAs, confidentiality agreement, security around your platform. So we want to protect Dawn Audio as they move out. The other thing that we want to talk about is licensing. Your licensing shouldn't undercut those protections. And it can be a good way to start the economic model of your company. That first level, that foundation for Dawn Audio is the subscriber. As Jason mentioned, my nephew Akete is a guitarist and a drummer, and he's a digital native, so he's used to getting his tools from the internet, collaborating and creating that way. And when I spoke to him about Dawn Audio, he was very excited of the power of the tool that he could get for $10. We go on bundling that license for enterprise, maybe a partnership with universities and the ambassador program, and then partnerships with other DAWs, as Alexis mentioned. And then we go on funding and staffing. After talking with Diego and Leo about their future plans, we suggest that they hire mid-level staff to help with the software development, that they also hire an agency. There's marketing things that they can do themselves, but hiring an agency saves that staffing salary and gets them expertise across a broad range. And then leveraging their equity partnerships with venture capitalists for that C-suite, particularly the CFO level expertise and industry knowledge. And as they're looking for venture capital for a seed round, we're suggesting they partner with companies that match their vision and mission. That industry knowledge is going to be very important. With these recommendations and looking at their projections, we're able to save them 37% over the next 18 months. By going ahead and starting to convert those users to subscribers, we're able to start their revenue generation in 16 months to 13,000, by 18 months to close to $500,000. We want to thank Diego and Leo of Dawn Audio for talking with us over the last couple of weeks, to giving us an opportunity to look at their big idea and maybe add some value as they continue on with their success. So I thank y'all very much. Are there any questions?
Would you mind backing up to your budget slide? So first question, perfect, thank you. Good job, by the way. I know this is stressful. $10, is that $10 a month per user? Perfect. And then this is from now to month 18, or is this from a date in the past?
This is now.
Great.
Now to month 18.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Is the product itself fully built and ready to scale and grow at this level, or is there product development still needed to be done?
The product is built, and they are actually, December 18th, they went into beta with about 25 users, gotten it out there, and they're starting to get some of that feedback. So it is, it's out there. It's working.
Great job. Thank you for that. An interesting subject matter. I'm curious about the venture capital route. You are suggesting that there was zero revenue for 2022, and it's in beta. Why are you jumping to venture capital versus other types of financing?
That's a good question. When talking with Diego and Ligo, we understood that they were already looking for venture capital funding, and so our recommendation was more about the particular funds that they looked at, that they looked for music industry knowledge, that they also looked specifically for CFO to help them over the next 18 months with the operations, growing the operations, managing that agency that they might hire, software development, and the like.
Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome to New Orleans. Thank you for coming to New Orleans. That goes for everybody. What's going on with the expenses there? I see they start reducing in month 4. They kind of bottom out in month 6, and this is sort of the opposite direction I would expect a growing company to take. I like the margin, but yeah, what's happening there?
Yeah, what we took into account is their expected spend for what they had targeted for a key position that they wanted to hire in the company. So our recommendations were some positions such as like a strategic marketing executive. They outsource that type of work. So we wanted to see them just kind of reduce the dollar amounts that they were looking at for these hires. Maybe they offered capital or a piece of the company, a stake, a share of the company to reduce those salaries. And then, as Dream mentioned earlier, in partnership with some venture capitals or some funding companies, bring in that level of expertise. So they weren't looking at trying to have that salary with the company.
Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much.
Loyola.
I'm like, did they coach you on this?
Not really. We took it from them, honestly. We do have one thing. So since we're condensing all of it, we did give our client proposals. So you guys can just look over it as we're going through the site. It should kind of guide you guys through our presentation. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Mic check. Everything sounds good? Sounds good, sounds good. I can be a little loud, so I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. We sound good. All right, before we start, I would just like to thank you guys for everything. Firstly, I wanted to give a shout out to a handful of individuals here today that really put this thing together, but also, again, allowed us to be here on stage. First, I want to actually give a shout out to the contestants. I have not gotten a chance to meet each and every single one of you all. I've been busy, so unfortunately, I only was able to attend one event. So I want to say welcome to New Orleans, welcome to our beautiful campus, as we are the representative of Loyola University, New Orleans. My name is Paul, and this is Alejandra. Unfortunately, several members of our teammates would not be able to attend as they are in Thailand, doing something also representing our university respectively. So we'll do our best. We'll do it in true New Orleans fashion. We'll figure it out, and we'll have some fun, all right?
Well, now I'm going to give you an overview of our client, Treyawade, that it falls into the hotel hospitality service industry. The product type, it's a hardware and subscription service with its primary product. It's a contactless tray retrieval device that looks like this one. It can be customized with hotel branding and with unique messaging and with different languages if applicable. Right now, the current state of the company, it's 5 full-time employees with a clientele of 175 hotels with an estimated ARR for 2022 of $600K and with an expected marketing budget for 18 months of $250K. Our project overview is to develop and design and scale up strategy for Treyawade to increase their current gross annual revenue by 50% and in an 18-month period starting the next fiscal year. The proposed strategy needs to be both effective and feasible for the client with an emphasis on maintaining current cost structures while exponentially increasing the projected revenues within the time constraint.
All right. So now that you guys have at least an idea where we're all at, let's talk numbers. So, again, as Alejandro said, our company's estimated ARR at the time was about $600,000 by the end of 2022. If they add a client, they'll add the ARR up to $3,500. Then, take into account the consideration of the project, we had to get up to $900,000. Now, this is where the challenge comes. We talked to our client, talked a lot about it, and he mentioned that actually he projects within the next 18 months, he suspects that he'll get up to $5 million. As you can see, we're wondering, what are we here for, right? So we take into account a few things. Okay, well, if that's the case, what can we do? What can we really recommend this individual who has an incredible product we also believe in, right, that can be also, again, effective? So that's leading us to the next question. What can we recommend, right, to make sure that this is attainable and sustainable, right? $5 million growth from $600,000 in the next 18 months, right? How can we ensure that this is, once again, attainable and sustainable? So our strategy is broken up into 3 pillars. The first is a complete marketing overhaul, particularly under digital marketing content. Second, we propose that instead of just targeting any hotel managers, right, you target specifically hotel chain managers. And thirdly, reconstruct, reinvent, and redesign and overhaul the staff in marketing behind that, which can be done through outsourcing. So let's talk about pillar number 1. We design what is called the need digital design approach. So the question is very simple. When creating digital marketing materials for your products, you should place emphasis on the following. 1, numbers, right? Numbers is a universal language. We all know this. No matter what language you speak, if I show you 3, I show you 100, those numbers are different. You can tell those differences, and you can have an idea what that difference looks like, right? Second is efficiency. And this takes place on talking about testimonies and reviews, right? Highlight those reviews. Get those testimonies from your current clients and showcase that particular thing in your digital marketing content. Next is ease, right? We're talking about an industry that, again, is likely to have lower educational levels in their staffing and needs to understand that this implementation of their product, particularly a tech product, can be easy to use, easy to implement. And lastly, design. Keep it simple. Keep it intentional, right? So this is something that I stole from our advisor, is this quote. And this is something I shared to Mr. Josh, our lovely CEO. You want your product to be perceived as a painkiller, not a vitamin. Hence, a need, not a want. Right? The second proponent is reducing the sales cycle by targeting hotel chains. I mean, we did the simple math. So currently, the current structure of their marketing is that they do most of their marketing targeting through LinkedIn, B2B, right? So historically, for every $1,000 they spent, they generate a total of 34 leads. If you target singular hotel chains, hotel managers, singular hotel managers, that means, again, there's one hotel, one client, right? So on average, historically, for every 34 leads they generate, they bring in 3 new clients. Our proposal is very simple. Again, simple math, right? Instead of targeting hotel managers of singular hotels, you target hotel chains with at least 2. If you do the math, at the very least, if you target 1 hotel manager chain, if you get 2, again, that reduces the sales cycle entirely. Here's the numbers. As you can see here, we did 3 different kinds of estimates. We did a conservative 2, and then an aggressive, right? If you implement our strategies, we're proposing that 1, possibly you generate more leads, right? Let's say the content digital marketing brings in more interest, brings in more confirmation, brings in more confidence in your brand, right? If you did the simple equation, the simple math, you can see that it could possibly produce more clients, new clients, more revenue, right? Let's say we did conservative 2. Let's say you don't bring in more leads, but you convince more people. Let's say you target hotel managers, right? Those hotel managers, again, instead of 1 hotel, you get 2, maybe 3, right? But let's say we go aggressive. Let's say not only do we generate more leads, we also get more commitment, right? And these are the numbers, and this is what we show, right? So again, we're talking about a client that has projections for 5 million just on their marketing content alone. We believe that we can be a little bit more aggressive, and then we can shoot way past the 900 objective goal that we had set out for.
Now, with the third pillar, outsourcing for enhanced digital marketing support. Why outsource? With the expectations that Treyawade will exponentially grow, outsourcing aspects of the company will reduce the bandwidth needed for other parts of the company. The marketing proponent of the company will need additional support. Outsourcing could improve the quality and quantity for the marketing material as the company grows. The goal is to build and expand on consumer confidence, brand awareness, and overall a brand. Therefore, the company's digital presence and perception plays a considerable role. You can obtain SEO, search engine optimization, consulting services at a reasonable price through outsourcing marketing. SEO will help your business create a smoother and faster and user-friendly website. Businesses with optimized websites bring more customers and grow twice as fast as those that do not have one. With SEO, your conversion rates and brand awareness raise. SEO efforts have long-term results because you're not paying to be at the top of search engine results. You're earning your place there. And with that being said, our first recommendation is White Shark Media, that's headquartered in Miami, Florida, with branch offices in Nicaragua, and its national SEO package plan starts at $1,100, and the service includes per-click management, search engine optimization management, sales enablement tools. How does it work? So the SEO audit is the first essential part of the process. The team will audit your website for an in-depth analysis of its strengths and areas of opportunity to build your custom strategy. Then, once the SEO agency has performed an audit and assess of insights, they will create a digital marketing plan tailored to your business and goals expectations. Content is key. The team will help with an on-site and off-site content to ensure your audience sees relevant information that will influence their interactions with your site. The SEO company will conduct keyword research to help find effective keywords that will help your business rank higher, drive more traffic, and get you the desired results. The team will build backlinks to your website through quality content and link placements. The SEO company will present monthly reports to measure things like audience growth and track rankings. Thank you.
Good job, you guys.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask a little more about the White Shark Media approach. So you'd said $1,100 was sort of the package start. I would be thinking that potentially the steps you say in the next slide are probably a lot more than $1,100. So I just wanted to understand a little more about the numbers and investment in the offshore marketing, because I think that might be a bigger expense. So just wanted to see what you thought of that.
Yes, so the plan starts at $1,100, but that's the first audit and the first assessment then the company is going to do to your website. And it covers the first, these packages, and according to what sometimes you're not going to need to work on all these aspects. Only in some of them. So White Shark, like the company is going to base on those aspect that your website needs to improve, and that's where they're going to be. And it's going to depend accordingly to the work that your website needs.
Can you explain a little bit more about the product itself? Are you manufacturing trays?
Yeah, so our product is a solution-based, or again, it's a tech-based solution for trays. So think about it. When you go to a hotel, right? Imagine walking into a hotel, and then you're walking down the hall, and you see 30 trays, 30 dishes. What does that give you? What kind of sense does that give you? Right? Especially in our today's climate, being clean, being efficient, being effective of our trays needs, again, being clean and being effective or being efficient is key. Right? Because think about COVID, think about all the plastic implications. So what our CEO and what our product is essentially a solution to that. A solution where there is a product, you press a button, and then individuals from the hotel can pick up your trays in an effective manner. Because currently, it's done kind of analog. It's done through pen and paper, word of mouth. They'll filter, they'll search through. This way makes it more effective, makes it more efficient, and makes it cleaner.
So you're manufacturing that technology that you would sell into the hotels?
No. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, they create. They create the product, but they also provide the software for that as well.
So as you grow, then,
Yes.
what does the staffing look like for increasing to that level of hotels with the product you're producing?
The obvious answer is you have to increase, right? Ideally, realistically, what the product would need to be will be implementation. If we are expanding, they're hoping to grow that far, we'll talk about, is mostly going to be about implementation, because other than that, it should be a plug-and-play system, right? The idea is that this is easy to implement into hotel chains. It isn't going to be needing from the business itself, but rather, again, the implementation process. So that's where the staffing will come.
Just looking at the LinkedIn lead conversion projections, by the way, good job. Seems like that's generating, $10,000 in revenue on $1,000 in spend. Is there not more thought around just doubling down on that, or do you have the capacity for that, or is there diminishing returns for just spending more money generating leads versus SEO and things like that?
Oh, no, that's great. I mean, I think one of the key things that we thought about in our product was, okay, how can we implement this better, right? Where are the gaps that needs to be filled? And the first gap was, okay, looking at the digital marketing content, can we improve in this particular capacity? Yes, you can spend more money in marketing and then thus producing more revenue by getting more leads, new clients, right? Our idea is, again, we're trying to figure out something that's different, right? In terms of what can they implement, right? Okay, the obvious answer is if you market more, then you get more revenue, then that's the easy answer. We're thinking, okay, we know that, right? What can we do to improve that system, to improve the efficiency, to reduce the general cost of the marketing itself?
Hi. Okay. I'm interested in whether you guys talk to buyers or how you got to know their selling process and how easy or difficult it is to get in the door of a chain hotel manager in front of a decision maker. Because that was one of your, one of my takeaways was we wanted to go from independent hotels to getting in the door with multi-units. Is that correct?
Yes. Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm curious if you did any diligence on how difficult or easy it is to get in front of a chain hotel manager versus an independent hotel manager.
Unfortunately, I was not able to get the time or had the time to do that. I'm so sorry.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
One more question? The expected change in revenue of building up to $5 million makes it seem like the CEO, Josh, has actually already accomplished Pillar 2. My assumption would be he's not going to be predicting $5 million basically in growth without having already gotten his foot in the door with a large chain. Is that,
yeah.
If that's the case, then what is your Pillar 2 bringing that they're not already doing?
Right. I mean, I think that's a very fair question. I think for us, it's continuing that effort. I think it's easy to kind of, especially starting small, you can target small individual clients. We want to emphasize that point in our marketing strategy, is that you should continue that emphasis in pushing to target hotel clients, hotel chain clients, as opposed to just individual managers.
is the University of Detroit Mercy.
Hello, how are you guys doing today? I am Tracy Powell, and I represent the University of Detroit Mercy. My team is watching online. I was the only one here to represent, so here we go. I am representing Check, and the owner is Matthew Armstrong. Check. How should I explain this? The way many lawn companies, lawn care operators run their businesses is really outdated. What happens is that they are using pen and paper, and they need a more organized system to operate their business. These operators are tired of using pen and paper. They would like more organization. And the customers that they service, like myself, would like them to have a more updated system also. I mean, who doesn't like to have a mobile invoice sent to them instead of maybe getting a bill 3 or 4 months later? So Check has come in to help with this process. Who is Check? Check has built software to help lawn and home service operators get organized and be more professional for their customers. This comes down to real people experiences less stress while running their business. These operators will be able to have one system in one place instead of having several systems like dealing in Excel or Word or other business transactional programs. But there's a lot of competition. This competition, like jobber in this industry, could be very price expensive for the operators. And, these operators can be less tech savvy. What Check does is they bring in an inexpensive tool to help these operators to have all of their business needs in one spot. The competition is very expensive and very bloated in this sense. But the real users who use Check have said that the cost is lower and it helps them to position their business easier. Right now, our primary focus is to get in front of potential customers that will sign up we will sign up at higher tiers. This is the overview. In an effort to increase our runway, we recently went through a reduction of sales of our force that allowed us to try to break even within early 2024. To get to this break-even point, we have recommendations for the company to focus on. The key measures will be everything that they do will be to drive sales. They will add a higher tier to allow them to upmarket and to attract larger clients. They will seek new partnerships with influencers to help reach the masses quickly. And within this funnel, they can leverage direct sales to increase conversion rates. And we have two solutions for this. We have a best and ideal solution, and we have a worst case scenario. In the best case scenario, we see within this business model that the growth can exceed 30% this year. And the best case scenario will be adding the premier tier influencer partnerships and direct sales by cold calling and direct sales. The worst case scenario is that Check will still have a low-cost influencer, but it will not generate sales. This worst case scenario, if they do not raise funds, could cause Check to shut down. But there is financing needed. Expenses at this point are at reduced levels because staff was reduced, but on the positive, a volunteer consultant was added, which helped the company to maintain. In addition to the recommendations for the sales funnel and to keep costs low is to not hire any more staff, to retain the volunteer consultant, and to pursue stock-only influencers rather than paying cash for marketing. We believe that our recommendation measures will increase revenue and maintain expenses, and this will help to allow significant growth in the coming year and establish Check as a dominant player within their industry. So you say, why Check? Check is already on their way to success. In addition to over the 150,000 followers that they have on social media, and with over 16,000 registered users and the biggest names in the industry talking about them, they are priced competitively with their competitors, and their users feel really good about the app, and it's easy to use. We would love to have you join us in a mission to champion this operator. Check is on its way. Thank you.
Good job. I saw a lot of money being spent.
Yes.
$500,000+.
So the money that was spent is for the development of the app. So all the monies that was spent within the last 14 months was for that development, which did cause a reduction in staff. But with the addition of the volunteer consultant, that kind of evened out that playing field. But now that the app is completed, that cost is no longer. The cost to maintain the app is very low because of the volunteer consultant on staff.
Okay. I did see it sort of kept going, that expense. Is there an anticipation that that would tail off a little bit? And then on the revenue side, I'm assuming it's also per transaction type of revenue?
It is. It truly is. The growth, because it's this type of app and it's very seasonal with the weather, it does ebb and flow a lot depending on the season. So on the peak seasons, it will be very profitable, but that profit can be maintained on the non-peak seasons to maintain them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really, really interesting business. I'm curious about the end user. You talked about having 16 customers currently that are bigger, or 16 influencers that are bigger?
There are several. There's a ton of competitors.
Okay.
We have 16,000 users.
Oh, 16,000
Yes,
users.
we have 16,000 current users that's currently using them. Those 16,000 users are essentially seasonal, depending on where they are located within the United States, and the services that they are providing to their clients. But the app itself has 100,000 followers. So we're hoping
Gotcha.
with the addition of adding a on-stock influencer that this will get the word out, and also cold calling with the staff that we have will also help with sales.
And is the app a pay-for app, or how do you make money from the 16,000 users?
So yes, it is a pay-for app. The cost is right now is 3-tier. I believe it starts at like $40 a month up to like $85 a month. Check is currently trying to get a higher tier corporate clients. So this will enable them to have a longer term contracts and not just monthly users like the 16,000 that they have, but it will be more dominant contracts that just use it.
Congratulations, good job, thank you.
Thank you.
If I read a slide correctly, it looked like they had about 300,000 cash on hand.
Yes.
And so my question is about financing. So what are the sources, existing sources, and what are the plans? If I could interpret them right, it looks like we're going to be consuming cash for the foreseeable future. So what are the plans for fundraising and funding the growth?
The plans for fundraising is right now is to get more clients and to win this competition to start. But for more clients in the door is our fundraising goal, and to get more visibility, because as we all know with apps, if you have your phone in your hand, you're looking at social media, visibility there, and to get the word out and then not stop there, but have the word trans into transactions. Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Alabama, I think you're up next. We end up having just 3 mics because there's one mic over at the.
Gotcha.
We only have 3 mics. And who gets the remote first?
We only have 3 mics, so we'll just do it. Oh, never mind. We got 4. We're good. Just mic check. All right. Tonight, we will be telling you about the exciting growth that will be happening for bypass lines in the near future. Over the past 8 weeks, we have been working closely with the team from Bypass Lines to develop a unique scaling strategy that will increase revenues by 50% over the next 18 months. We will be telling you about who Bypass Lines is, the analysis that we have done with their company, and the resulting strategies that we have found, and how those strategies add value for both Bypass Lines and their consumers.
Bypass Lines has created an innovative online platform that allows users to make a 5% contribution with every purchase to an organization of their choice. So here's how it works. End users are able to use the Bypass Lines platform to make purchases from local merchants, to then choose the organization that they love and donate that 5% contribution through the Bypass Lines platform. They are making a lasting contribution to the community of New Orleans.
We have crafted a holistic strategy to leverage these community connections, which will result in over 1,300 new customers shopping at over 50 new merchants for the next 18 months. For your community, this means over $40,000 donated. This is directly correlated with an average annual revenue growth of over 117%, which far exceeds our goal of 50%.
You and I, we order from mobile platforms all the time. So what if in addition to what you're getting, you're able to give back to an organization or a cause that you feel passionate about. We are making this possible with our recommendations for bypass lines. First, we are looking to shift our target market focus from universities and large endowments to student organizations. Secondly, we're going to increase marketing and streamline marketing across all 3 of bypass lines verticals to make sure that it's streamlined through all communication platforms. And finally, we're going to deploy an automation system to then increase the number of merchants offered on the bypass lines platform.
Our strategy will be implemented in 3 distinct phases. For the first 6 months, we will be focusing on targeting and marketing to our new consumer segment. Then we will be ready to implement a university-specific campus outreach program, and by month 12, we will have raised the revenue necessary to automate bypass lines' key internal operations. By month 18, bypass lines will be ready to expand across Louisiana and beyond.
In order to understand the impact of these strategies, we first need to understand where bypass lines was when we first met them 8 weeks ago, with 1,200 active end users and an average annual growth rate of just over 1%. Though cost of acquisition and profit margin beat industry averages, we wanted to provide a holistic solution to scale bypass lines revenue far past that of 2022.
Now let's jump into bypass lines' 3 distinct verticals and how our strategies affect them, starting with our organizations. When we first met bypass lines, they were targeting large university endowments, and as you can see on this graph here, those are relatively far removed from students, or what we'll know as the end user here. As students at a university as similar size to these that they're targeting, we've seen directly how student organizations impact students and how far removed we really are from the endowment of our school. This allows us, as we move forward, by changing our targeting of student organizations to further meet with students and meet them directly where they are, which creates cyclical demand and allows bypass lines to be fundamental in the fundraising for these student organizations.
This demand-focused strategy increases both end users and average annual revenue from 1% to 72%. Though cost of acquisition increases, we're still able to remain profitable throughout this strategy.
Next, looking at our marketing and how our marketing affects the end user. When we first met with bypass lines, they had a lot of vague and ambiguity when portraying their value proposition to the end user. We changed this by changing their marketing strategy, making it more directed and targeted. Once again, as students at a large university and members of fantastic student organizations that we love, we've seen how these student organizations directly communicate their message through various channels and platforms with their members, one example being social media. By making bypass lines messaging more targeted and direct, similar to the social media post that you can see on the screen, we create and retain end users, once again allowing for that cyclical demand through our marketing efforts. At the University of Alabama, we surveyed 25 student organizations, of which 100% said that they would be interested in promoting and using bypass lines as a fundraising tool for their organization, and 100% also said that they saw value and increased value in fundraising when we presented them with our new marketing materials that we've released on bypass lines' behalf.
This second segment of our strategy continues to grow both end users and revenue, and our new focus on retaining users lowers our cost of acquisition. This is a low-cost strategy, so our profit margins are able to grow as we maintain revenue growth.
Lastly, let's switch our focus to the internal and operational systems of bypass lines with our automation strategy for merchants. Bypass Lines is currently onboarding merchants manually at about half a merchant every hour, which is relatively slow. This leads to high lag time and high bottleneck when actually importing these new menus, and we combated that by employing an automation system which Bypass Lines has started to implement today. In order to do this, we did need funding. However, this allows us to grow our onboarding process to about 6 merchants per hour.
The final segment of our strategy does involve an added cost as we hire an additional staff member, but this cost is temporary and will be offset as we continue to grow revenue. So the total cost for our strategies is just over $12,000. As we increase demand, we expect both revenue and profit to increase, which creates new cash flows for our business. This allows us to finance these strategies with the new revenue. Our team also researched a few grants for Bypass Lines to explore to provide additional financial support. And the following is our 18-month financial statement. So we want to emphasize to you guys the importance of profitability throughout this strategy. We've managed to grow EBITDA by 230% relative to 2022.
Beyond just increasing our average annual revenue growth by 117%, we wanted to provide Bypass Lines with a truly sustainable growth strategy. Over the next 18 months, we've managed to keep costs low enough that we have an increase in margin of 28%. Over the next 5 years, with these strategies, we are predicting a cost decrease of 83%, leading to a truly sustainable scaling strategy. To summarize our strategy, we will be directly targeting organizations and fostering a network and community within the Bypass Lines network. Next, we will be streamlining our marketing, directly targeting the end users and constituents of these organizations to further build that community. Finally, we will be implementing our automation system, which will allow us to meet the growing merchant desire to join this Bypass Lines network so they can capitalize it and benefit the community. Bypass Lines will grow their annual revenue with these strategies by 117%, and they are poised for unparalleled growth. We will now take any questions.
Great job, everybody. Thank you. I guess I can ask a question. You had noted about the value prop ambiguity. Could somebody explain that a little more and how you recommended that they tackle that ambiguity?
Of course. So Bypass Lines has seen a lot between all of their communication platforms. They've been posting generally the same messages across each, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, merchants need a different message than end users and constituents and organizations. So we gave them a bunch of numbers and data that we're not going to dig into right now on social media and how social media can grow the platform. But we've also given them a way to kind of see how directly end users need to be messaged versus organizations and merchants on things like LinkedIn.
I have a question about profit margin and cost structure. So where is profit coming from? Is there a subscription paid by the user? Are the merchants paying subscription? Can you talk a little bit about the model of that?
Yeah, definitely. So when somebody orders something on Bypass Lines, that item is marked up by 19%. And it's important, so out of that 19%, 14% will go back to Bypass Lines to fund their revenue, and 5% goes to the organization of your choice. It's important to note that while we're not directly competing with these platforms, apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, the average markup is 33%, so this is significantly less than other options on the market.
Great, thank you.
Good job, everyone. So the first approach you're taking, targeting the student organizations, I think that's a really great idea. Did you have a plan for sort of how to get the student organizations, besides all of you being actively engaged in your own, how to get them involved? You know, how is the marketing towards them?
Absolutely. We are all members of student organizations, and at the University of Alabama, we have a database that allows us to access a list of all the student organizations at our university. This list has contact information for all presidents, and it's actually what we use to send out our surveys for our marketing materials. So over the course of this project, Hannah did a lot of research into the surrounding universities in the New Orleans communities to find these lists that exist at other universities, and we put together a spreadsheet for Sharon and Spencer to allow them to have access to that after we and our very close knowledge of student organizations are no longer around.
Additionally, one of the awesome things that we had the opportunity to do was to create kind of a quasi-media kit. And we talked about with Sam here how to target each one of the verticals. Not every vertical is going to be contacted the same way. Merchants have a different, purpose with bypass lines than end users in organizations and so on. And so we have in our appendix part of our media kit that we kind of worked on to kind of target each one of those verticals. And so giving those as an example, we are able to then, target student organizations with, the contact information that we've compiled, but also we have the materials ready to deploy to those organizations already.
That was really well done. Thank you so much. The question I have is around users and the service model. So as you get more and more users, will you need more staffing because there'll be questions and problem resolution and fees that don't go to the right places, and just like the user experience might need some support? So do you foresee adding more staff because of that? And if so, do you foresee adding more funding? Will you need outside funding of any kind?
So currently, Bypass Line's biggest internal operation is onboarding the merchants and not necessarily with the end users of the organizations, which is why we've decided to automate that process. Currently, Bypass Lines pays an external developer to basically manually read through each menu and type that in by hand onto the website. And by month 12, we'll have raised the funds for a 3-month project that will develop a software that will read that and upload it for them. And that way, they just have to check it over, which will take 10 minutes or less, and that will vastly decrease the amount of time and money that they'll need to spend. So we see that as being the biggest operation, and we think that we have addressed that by implementing automation.
From the external side, I think Nicholas really well addressed the automation is our internal customer service issue, essentially. Externally, we do anticipate staffing needing to increase in the future, but Bypass Lines is a growing platform, and as we demonstrated in, I can flip back for you, this slide, our expected revenue far outweighs our expected cost with this strategy, so we anticipate the demand that we're able to create to be able to fund the increases in staffing that we will eventually need. It's kind of a compounding, situation.
Thank you for all that. And in fact, you answered 2 of the questions I had with where does the 5% come from and how long is the timeline on automating that. So thank you. My last one then is you talked a couple times about the cost of acquisition. And what is it that you're calculating there, and what is it you're acquiring? I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes, so we look directly at the amount they would be spending as a company and to look at how many customers they would grow over time. So as we implemented our initial demand strategy, we grew that cost of acquisition because we were spending more on marketing and onboarding of these universities that even though we grew a lot of customers, a lot of our costs went up. Once we developed our marketing strategy, we brought that down much further because we just grew so exponentially. And then we further decreased it with our automation system, which brought our cost of acquisition down from $32.22 to around $24.
Fantastic, thank you.
Our next group is Tulane. Yep, here we go.
Testing, 1, 2. Y'all ready? All right. We'd like to thank Barrett and Sam for this amazing program that they put together, as well as GNO Inc. and Idea Village. We've had a phenomenal time, and we are really happy to be here today. All right, let's get started. So we are here representing Cred, a peer-to-peer recognition and rewards platform for teachers and school staff. My name is Ivy. I am here with Kanan, Michael, Tet, and Lauren. We'd also like to introduce you guys to our founders, Claire and Chrissy, who are best friends from college, as well as subject matter experts in education and technology. Claire has 7 years of experience in education, not just in the classroom, but also including with the Department of Education. And Chrissy is a full stack developer, most recently the lead software engineer for Athena Health. All right, so teacher recognition, retainment, and empowerment is a national problem. Cred addresses all of these issues in a single platform. However, the long purchasing cycle of education in general really leaves us with a lot of questions about customer demand. So, Tulane proposes a rebrand to EdCred because your name should say what you do, and we really like to think of this as KidCred 2.0 with custom enhancements, gamification, and additional features that really address adoption and customer engagement issues within the platform currently. We like to think of this as personal as your Instagram, as easy as Venmo, and as addictive as your favorite game. All right, so our value proposition is pretty wild here. We've got some really big percentages, some huge revenue growth, and yeah, it's an aggressive pivot for sure, but we want you guys to understand that we're starting out really small here, and the founders have made some very intentional choices when it comes to how much investment they're willing to take on. But what we'd like to emphasize is that we are suggesting product enhancements, strategic partnerships, and capital investment to get us to that final scale-up stage. So where we're starting, we've got 3 customers and $12K in revenue. Part of our partnership was putting together a client wish list. We devised a strategy using the AFI framework, and we collaborated on a business model canvas. What we'll do is focus on phase 1 because that's really where the majority of our strategy is focused today. But I just want to mention that in phase 2, we propose a market extension to talent acquisition and teacher recruitment, particularly for franchised schools and franchise tutoring organizations such as Goddard School, Primrose Schools, Tutor Doctor, and Mathnasium. So that's where that last little bit of our strategy roadmap is focused. So this is a lot going on. I'm not going to belabor any points here, but I want you guys to know that what we started with was an analysis and research phase. We tested the current product against Porter's 5 Forces. We also wanted to understand the regulatory environment a little bit better, so we did a pestle analysis as well as a SWOT analysis to understand the competitive landscape. We did a listening tour. We went through dozens of customer interviews for feedback, and then we went on into the formulation and planning phase where we established sales and operational KPIs and put together a schedule for platform enhancements in addition to updating the pricing strategy and putting together some relationships with the New Teacher Project, Teach for America, and New Schools for New Orleans. So in our final implementation and execution phase, what you'll see there is a proposal to form ambassador referral programs as a part of those strategic partnerships, in addition to the expansion to recruitment and talent acquisition, where you've already laid that foundational work in the formulation phase with the operational KPIs, and then also do a series of updates and integrations to add value for customers. And then, of course, we've got the partner critiques and relationships to develop the next phase, which would be teacher recruitment and talent acquisition in education. Finally, we have a visualization here of the EdCred network, and Lauren is going to explore some of the aspects of that sales and marketing strategy for us.
Thank you so much, Ivy. So here shows the EdCred market that we're working to build. If we look at it just within the New Orleans context that has over 80 schools, we'd like to build strategic partnerships with organizations like New Schools for New Orleans, 4.0 Schools, along with charter school networks like KIPP, First Line Schools, to help create relationships in more effective, efficient ways, getting in front of more schools at a quicker pace. As you see on the top right-hand corner of the screen, we're looking to shift our focus to specific markets over the course of the next 3 years. Rather than trying to cast a wide net, we want to go deep within certain markets and to help build that customer growth over the period of the next 3 years through these strategic partnerships. And as we look into the pricing structure, we're making a pivot here. Currently, the pricing structure is by seat, $180 per seat. And as you recall, there's been $12,000 in revenue across 3 schools. So we look at this updating tiered pricing structure that goes by the range and size of the school. So going tier 1, 0 to 75 schools, we're already looking at a price point of over $12,000. And this is a yearly pricing structure with a focus of adding in 2 components, new components, quarterly meetings along with onboarding to help further invest in relationship building with school leaders from the get-go. We see this as a huge opportunity to help build retention year over year. And so what you'll see in the following slide when we go into the financials is how we're able to retain customers over the course of the next 3 years and beyond, with the support of hiring a number of new teammates to help move forward on these sales initiatives. And I'll pass it over to Kanan to lead us out with the financials.
Thank you. We're proposing 2 raises. The first raise is going to be a $100,000 seed round. That's going to go to finish building out the rest of the platform, allowing our founders to be paid a salary, and the rest of that's being put towards marketing and sales. That round is going to close out June 30th of this year. Starting July 1st, we're proposing a Series A round for $1 million. That $1 million will be geared toward, or be focused on hiring more sales personnel, building out the sales team, allowing our co-founders to be paid, and sales and marketing. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Ivy.
Just to end us up here, we really believe that a lot of these recommendations that we've made help EdCred pursue their mission, which is to foster a culture of recognition and empowerment in education. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. That was great. So you're proposing the name change. It is currently KidCred, and you want to go EdCred. Yes. Okay, fantastic. That's a big pivot. Yeah, okay. You're consultants.
That's correct, but we also consulted with the founder prior to doing that. So this has been a very collaborative process for both.
That's wonderful to hear. That's great. Great. Okay. Thank you. What the current revenue model is 12,000 across 3 schools. Is that a full year? How long is that? What timeline is that over?
Yes, that's a full year. And so that $12,000 is in total across the 3 different schools. It's $180 per seat. So the price currently as it stands ranges based on school size of the amount of staff present.
But your average, on your slide it talked about the pricing tiers. I thought it said the average school would be about 12,000. Maybe I got it wrong. But are the schools they're in currently smaller?
Yes, the schools are currently smaller.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yes.
Nicely done. Thank you so much. I like big pivots. The question I have is about the target and the sales process. Selling into these school systems is challenging, and oftentimes they will only buy things that are going to increase the scores of the school. Is that fair? Is that a paradigm that you've seen? And how does this fit into that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak on that. So one of the things that we've seen, especially over the past few years with the pandemic, is a shift to thinking about the holistic experience at a school, both from a teacher and student perspective. So schools are looking at teacher satisfaction, student satisfaction as another marker for success. And while it may not be the traditional test scores, what we're finding is in terms of teacher retention and retainment, being able to be at a school where there is a high level of satisfaction and that feeling that teachers are wanting to come in and contribute to the school community is equally as important to help foster that environment for student success in and outside of the classroom.
I have an add-on question related to selling. How does the focus on partnerships differ from the current strategy being deployed that brought them this $12,000 mark in revenue?
I can speak on that. So right now they are casting a really wide net, and Claire is doing a phenomenal job with her outreach, but it's really kind of one by one in a very systematic way, and she is actually a part of the alumna network for the New Teacher Project and Teach for America. So those are warm leads for her. Those are strong partnerships that she already has an existing relationship with. And this was just a way for us to really refine and think about her time and how valuable that is, and then create a custom product. We are competing on flexibility and customization on the performance frontier. So we are approaching these organizations with a platform that can be customized to their needs and then allow that to trickle down to all of their members. So it's quite different because it's not as wide of a net.
Okay.
Thank you. Just saying thank you.
Thank you. Last but definitely not least, LSU. Come on down.
Perfect. Mind if I steal that from you?
We just 3 mics because one mic's up
there. Netflix, Uber, Airbnb, Tesla. What is it that each of these companies have in common? They're all market disruptors. They've all changed the way that we perceive industries and consume products. Now, my name is Clay Everett, and my team from LSU and I have had the immense pleasure of working with the next great market disruptor. And that disruptor is Obatala Sciences. Simply put, Obatala is changing the way that preclinical testing is done. But with transformative innovation comes actual business challenges. My team and I have worked with Obatala to develop a robust scale-up strategy so that those actual challenges that a company running a business don't get in the way of their disruptive innovation. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of our strategy, we want to share with you a little bit about who Obatala is and what they do.
Obatala works to provide products and tools to redesign modern methods of biomedical research, more specifically preclinical research. They develop resources to allow researchers more accessibility to perform medical experiments like in clinical testing, but without the human obstacles that come with it. One example of their products is tissue on a chip, which is that you can get in a little bottle that can simulate human responses, but without having the human actually there. This technology can be extended to products with diabetes, breast cancer. The possibilities are endless. Obatala is a company that has the potential to lead the market of $100 billion in biomedical research. But like Clay mentioned, there are still business issues that we have to address.
The number one problem that's plaguing Obatala is that their current fulfillment process is so inefficient that it's inhibiting their ability to scale their business. Now, this fulfillment problem breaks down into three parts: process integration, labor issues, and shipping and packaging issues.
To talk about the fulfillment problem in more detail, the company uses Shopify to manually create the order. They use Adobe to manually create the shipping label, and they use QuickBooks to manually record the sale. And these three softwares are not integrated. For labor, they use one person, the shipping manager, to complete the fulfillment process. And this drives away from his main role, which is to drive sales. For shipping, a majority of their products require dry ice, and they have to go to Robert's Fresh Market to pick up and bring back the dry ice to the facility. Also, in the final step, they have to take that prepared product and bring it to UPS, a specific UPS location, to have it shipped off to the customer. So what are we going to do to solve these problems?
For the short term, we need to stop the bleeding. We need to apply some Band-Aids to the three major problems, handling them all independently. For the process integration problems, we have Shopify. And even with all of its problems, it still does have two easy-to-implement solutions that we could use to save heaps of time. The workflow process tool is very simple to set up and could make shipping labels a one-click task, saving loads of time. Not to mention, the QuickBooks API integration could make accounting super simple, prevent a lot of double working throughout the process, saving a lot of time in the process. For the labor problems, we need to hire a fulfillment person, and an affordable one at that. We need someone who's going to handle fulfillment in its entirety. Someone who can take the blame off the shoulders of the sales manager. This sounds like a simple solution, because it is. We need sales to handle sales, so let's have fulfillment handle fulfillment.
To fix the shipping problem, we've located a local dry ice vendor that will deliver directly to Obatala. In addition, we recommend negotiating with UPS on how we can get them to come and pick up the packages directly at the site. With this solution, we think that we can stop the process of having to leave the office every time an order is fulfilled.
While we weren't given any specific financial information for the company, we do know that they can currently fulfill 5 $1,500 orders every week. We estimate through the application of our short-term Band-Aids that we can move that number from 5 orders to 10 orders, resulting in a revenue increase of $7,500 every week. Now, we know that these short-term Band-Aids seem simple, but we believe in the beginning stages of a scale-up, there's an elegance to simplicity, because each one of these short-term Band-Aids will allow us to develop that foundation that we need to then implement our more complex solutions. So once we have this foundation, what's next?
The next step is where everything comes together. This is what we like to call the transition period to success. This is where Obatala is positioned well enough to take advantage of Fishbowl, an enterprise resource planning software that will weave together Obatala's digital assets into one cohesive system. Fishbowl re-engineers Obatala's warehousing and inventory management into a perpetual system that will allow seamless transfer of data between manufacturing and research that use the Benchling software, accounting that uses the QuickBooks software, and many more, connecting all of the divisions together. Now, what this will do is reduce the redundancy in tasks, which will lead to more efficient labor hours, reduce possibility of mistakes, while also still growing Obatala's growth rate up to 20%. We believe this will then allow Obatala to go from fulfilling 10 orders per week after our short-term Band-Aid strategy to 20 orders per week. The implementation of Fishbowl will allow Obatala to grow exponentially. And after that, we can then look at improvements that are a little more complex.
Our long-term growth strategy hinges on implementing technology to allow our employees to work more effectively than they ever could before. Step 1 has got to be implementing manufacturing facilitation technology, machines designed to allow the manufacturing of this state-of-the-art biotech to be as hands-off as possible. After that, our key to exponential growth is going to be through artificial intelligence. We're going to use AI to predict the demand, allow our inventory to be managed much more efficiently, as well as to make our workflow processes flow so much more seamlessly. We think the conjunction of these two technologies would allow us to do substantially more with one employee than we could many employees in the past. We think this could be useful to make our workflow count go from 20 orders per week to 100 orders per week. Now that we've outlined our problem, our process, our company, as well as how we're going to solve it, how is this competition going to play an effect in that solution?
If Obatala is awarded the prize money from this competition, they'll utilize those funds to implement our short-term Band-Aids and also our fishbowl solution. As we've previously discussed, we estimate that the implementation of these two solutions will allow Obatala to place themselves in a position where they can move from fulfilling 5 orders a week to 20 orders a week, resulting in an over $1 million increase in yearly revenues. Our scale-up structure, along with the funds from this competition, will help Obatala move from being the next great idea to being the next great New Orleans success story. Thank you.
I have a two-part question. First, is Obatala manufacturing in-house?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Great, that makes sense on this operational focus. Second, I have a very clear picture of the operational improvements, but can you talk a little bit about more about where those additional sales will come from once they have the capacity to fulfill them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the market for Obatala's product is huge. The clinical testing, which Obatala does preclinical testing, but the clinical testing market, 89% of drugs that get into clinical testing fail because the preclinical testing is all animal done. And it's very difficult for animals to simulate how a human will react. So these tissue on a chip is an actual human reaction that you can do in the preclinical phase, so it'll give you lower numbers on the failure whenever you get into the clinical phase.
Moreover, to answer your question, they currently have a substantial amount more demand than they can handle. They're getting heaps of orders every week that they just have to turn down because they can't manufacture them. Not to mention their sales guy isn't doing any sales right now.
Just piggybacking off of that, if there is such demand for the product now, why are you recommending that they wait 3 years to be able to ramp up to that 100 a week number?
Yeah, so that was something that we talked with the company about. Our initial idea was for them to implement the automation and AI within 12 months. But what they wanted to do was apply these short-term Band-Aids, implement Fishbowl, which they think will be able to increase their manufacturing and their fulfillment process where they can really generate that revenue. And then once they've gotten in a comfortable place with all of those processes actually being integrated, then they'll go and apply that automation and AI technologies.
Just so I'm clear, were they already looking at Fishbowl and you validated that, or is that something that y'all, there's my Southern, that y'all came up with?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was something that we found for them, as well as kind of in conjunction. They'd been thinking about a couple of different automation technologies, things that could tie together their processes, and we recommended as the best of the best in the current research industry is Fishbowl. It just works a lot better with the industry they're currently in and the technologies they're currently using. Wraps them all together in a nice, neat little package.
Did I understand correctly you weren't able to get access to financial information, so you don't know cost side, you don't know?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
We know that they are currently doing 5 orders a week at $1,500. So that is what we kind of based all of our projections on.
Understood. And to confirm, this is sort of a self-funding plan, right? You're going to save, you're going to patch together things in the first 3 months. You're going to save, it's this competition, and then revenue is funding the rest of your plan, the short-term plan.
So that's correct.
Thank you. Really, really well done. And for a complicated topic, too. The question is around, this feels like a process re-engineering engagement. Did you define it as such, or were you asked to do a process reengineering engagement?
So I thought originally it was going to be kind of like a process rearrangement because I thought it was kind of interesting how they had such a high demand, yet they couldn't get the orders fulfilled. In my experience as a pharmacist, I knew exactly what they were going through as a compounding pharmacist, trying to put out 50 orders a day, and how to get that in a streamlined process. Trying to find the right vendors, trying to find the right ways to make it even faster as you go through the workflow process.
Yeah, I think Obatala walked us through what their #1 challenge was currently, and we just went with that to try and help them develop a solution.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions? You good? All right.
Thank you.
So I want to thank all of these teams and the companies for the hard work that you all put in over the last 8 weeks. Please put your hands together and thank everybody. All right, we're almost done here, but I would like to first bring up the dean from the Business College, Dr. Michael Capella, to give us a few words regarding our MBA program and the Loyola Business Program. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Obviously, the ecosystem in New Orleans for startups is alive and well. And I also feel very good about our future business leaders. So that was a very impressive showing for our students. I want to thank the judges again for all their hard work. And Bara, of course, you and Sam for putting this all together, and for all our partners. And a shout out to Bobby Savoie for his financial support for the Center for Entrepreneurship. We're very excited about a lot of the initiatives that we're doing at the College of Business. We also launched an undergraduate major in entrepreneurship, so we really are wanting to help feed that local ecosystem. So thank you everybody for being here, and just delighted to see all the enthusiasm and the energy in the room. So with that, I will turn it back over to Bara.
Thank you, Dean Capella. All right, so what happens now is our faithful 6 judges are going to give me their clipboards. They're going to go get some food, and then they're going to meet me back here in the green room. It's over here in this magic door. And then we're going to arm wrestle. Okay, so they've been sort of marking down, based on the rubric that you all had, their thoughts on all of that. We're going to try and put together some numbers, at least to give us a starting point for discussion. And as we know, we are then going to be awarding the prizes. In between, you're going to be going and getting food. There will be an interview station, so our videographers are going to ask you, each of the teams and their company partners, to come and share a few words so that we can capture some of that and share it with future Idea Core participants. So please stay around and be ready to be interviewed. And at 8 o'clock, we will then meet out in the lobby there, and we will do the awards ceremony. Tonight's awards party is being sponsored by the New Orleans Business Alliance, also known as NOLA BA. So please help me thank NOLA BA. And lastly, also to thank our other sponsors, Idea Village and the Greater New Orleans, Inc. Thank you very, very much. And with that, I think it's time to get some food and start tallying up the points. Thank you all very much. I will be seeing you out there at 8 o'clock.